Excellent. Good. Really goody. Right, that looks like that's behaving. Let's see if I can plug my phone into my charger. No. Right, let's hope that that continues through the day. Let's just lift that softly down there. Hope that that continues to behave. Hi, Anthony. Let me just move this little kitten caboodle. Oh, there's one of those gone walkabouts. Oh, there it is. Oh, let's move them all over there. Let's shut that up, because otherwise we'll have a double-edged activity. That's cool. Let's move that, because we shuffled that around earlier on, and then we can put our bottoms down and hopefully still be in screen. Good evening, Joy. Hello, Nikki. Good evening, Claire. Hi, Kim. Good evening, Jill. Hello, Sheila. Welcome, 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 welcome. Right, let me just have a little bit of a scuffle around. These are all little fussy cut images from the paper pad, with one piece from the cutouts pad. There we are. Let's put those safely over there. We may or may not use those die cuts. There we are. There we are. There we are. Okay. Cool. Let's see who else is coming in. Well, my screen's telling me there's only 3 people watching, but don't believe that from the numbers of people who've come in. It's going to be one of those days. Clearly it's going to be one of those days. Right. Let's just pop that piece of paper, those 2 pieces of paper, on the floor. And let's... there might not be very much paint in there. Let us endeavour to see. Oh, a little bit. Let's just tip you upside down. We might need a bit more than that for inside there. There we are. But we do continue on mission use up. So that is a Stamperia Allegro paint in red-ish. Well, it's a red of some description. It's written in Italian, and as I don't speak any Italian, Rosa Emilia doesn't mean an awful lot to me. So I have a 10-inch frame here, and that we're going to use, and it needs a little bit of a haircut. I can see it needs a little bit of a haircut because this piece of canvas is overhanging, and I don't need it overhanging, so let's just give that, it's going to be covered, so it doesn't matter if I end up with a tatty bit here. There we are, and that bit's overhanging, so there we are, a little bit, just a little bit of a haircut from here. As I say, it's an 8-inch canvas. Did I say 10 inches? If so, I apologise. It's an 8-inch canvas. Hi Sarah. Hi Kim. Wow, he's home, and I think that's probably enough said about it. He's all a bit discombobulated and stressing about everything, and he's not quite with it really, but hey ho, such is life. So we're just going to add a little bit of colour. I've chosen this because we're going to put some papers on the top, and on my computer this looks like it's almost an orange red. It's definitely not an orange red. It's a red that works with the collection, so hopefully and you could paint the back of it. I'm not going to, because we don't need to be here forever and a month of Sundays while we paint and dry everything. We've got a reasonable amount of painting to do. We're going to create a sitting room. Why? Well, because we had a pair of curtains in the moulds from the collection, so that seemed like a good starting point for a room scene. she says, getting red on them when I didn't want it, but that's okay, that will wipe off. And a nice sofa as a starting point, and of course there's lots of windows. So there we are. Let's do that. Let's just grab this. Let's take that off there because I don't want it on there. Right, let's mop that up. We will have some more of that, and then let's just pop that over there. I will not put it over there because that's going to be in the way. We'll pop it up there, just pull that little lot so it's out of the way. There we are. Let's use the messaging, and I can always tidy up the edges of that later on. There we are. So as I say, we're going to create a wound scene. These two come from one mould. There we are, we've got that. So then we've got a whole collection of other bits and pieces. So let me just think about what I want to do in terms of organising for colours. There we are, that will do to start with. And we're going for thinking opulent reds and blues. Good evening, Jenny. Definitely ready for the weekend. And I am actively using up product at the moment, which is cool because it just has to happen. So there we are. So these have been cast with amazing casting resin, my go-to resin. It sets quite quickly and uncontrollably. It's absolutely white when it sets, unlike a lot of the quick cure ones. The resin from Pentart, the new one, the rapid resin from there, will work equally well. So that's just and although you can paint directly on to amazing casting resin, I always add a layer of gesso primer, and my gesso primer of choice is the Pentart primer paste. But you know, it doesn't matter which sheet, what you use, any gesso will work. You just just helps the paint to stick, and when you're layering everything up, then I think it's quite helpful to have a decent layer of gesso underneath. We're going to endeavour to try and keep our hands clean-ish. Famous last words. That won't be happening, will it? Because we know it wouldn't happen. There we are. So, there we are. So we just carry on and add these in. So these have got lots of texture. We'll do some of my typical approaches to texture later on to bring out the details and add in some shadows in an easy way, because I'm not going to sit there with a brush with dark black inks and add it in that way, because quite frankly life's too short. Though you could do if you wanted to, but we can add in low lights and highlights onto our piece, and those will really help to bring them to life. So who's come in? Good evening, Linda. Hello, Jan. Good evening, Shirley. Hello, Cassia. Oh, that's a mistake. There we are. We've just lost those. There we are. We'll pick up everyone eventually. For some reason, when I'm going live in Facebook via an event, the comments don't come up on the Facebook streaming page anymore. I assume it's one of their updates that they thought might be helpful. I'm not convinced I do think it's helpful, but hey ho, you know, each to their own. I'm sure someone thought it was. Then was helpful. So the curtains are sided, which is really helpful, because that means that you've got a pair, and therefore lots of flexibility. Means you can use them on their own on either side that you wish, or you can use them as a pair to frame a piece, and that's the intention for tonight. There we are. It wouldn't be a make for me if it didn't have lots of resin pieces in it, would it really? There will be a pure paper craft make with this collection at some point coming up. My own live on Sunday. It will be completing the brocante Tim Holtz folio that I started the other day, last week, when we did half of it. There we are. So this mould says make something extraordinary happen. I think that's quite a positive statement, isn't it? Always helpful to have uplifting sentiments. So let's just paint around the edges of here. That's always cool, and then hopefully that means we'll end up with less on our hands. Always a good thought. There we are. Okay, okay. I didn't get out the stone colour, but I'll go and grab that in a minute for reasons that will become clear. There we are. Okay. Meeny, miny. So those will do with the blue. That's a stone colour. Those are going to be a stone colour. That requires brown. That requires brown and red, and those can be red. Those little jewels. There we are. Not quite exactly the same. And a little Queen of Hearts spade there as a decoration. So let's just give this brush a little bit of a wipe. We'll leave that blue out for the moment. And let us just grab some more of that red. There we are. It's amazing how far 80 mils of paint flipping goes, you know, when you it really is. Right, so this comes from the frames mould. There's a really quite a nice square frame, and then there's lots of these cartouche holders, I guess is the best way of putting it. So could write onto it, stamp onto the centre, add a piece of but I'm actually going to use this as a holding platform for the sentiment resin piece that I've got. Come on, there we are. Lots of details. I think maybe painting around the edges first and holding in the centre actually is helping me keep my hands a little cleaner. I know. There we are. That's that bit that we've missed. Let's just take these two. This might be a bit more of a challenge because they're quite diddy. There's several of these little, I think they're called jewels, but we're just going to use them as wall sconces in the context of this, and then we can pop that onto here. There we are. I've got lots of paints out, but I don't have lots of mediums, so we're going to go for a red couch because I can. Might need a smaller. There we are. And we can pop excuse me. I do have some colours out today, but there we are. wasn't clever painting the top of that, but hey ho, that's what paint will do. It'll cover up. We can pop that onto there. We'll get the cushion covered, and then we'll go for, I think, wooden, mahogany coloured wood. There we are, rather than that. There we are. I think we can do this. We will swap to a smaller brush at some point, because that's clearly going to be sensible. Now we need some nice plush cushion cover armrests, don't we? Yes, they can be tapped with wood, but I don't think I want all of it to be maybe that was a mistake. Maybe that was going to be better. Let's just go for it, and then we can, there we are. We can always change our minds later on. There we are. We'll have that bit like that, that bit like that, and then let's just have this all in that. Make life easy. Why not? Why not? There we are. That will work for now. And I can see some bits on this one that I didn't catch, because you always do. Let's give that a good rinse. So Linda, I am using Amazing Casting Resin. I could be using the Pentart Super Resin. It's not the most cheap resin on the market, but for me it gives a white finish, and it's my preference, I think, for doing for lots of these things. Right, do the window, and it's a 1-to-1 by volume, so it's easy to make up and mix. Right, let's go for it. Let's not do these in stone. Let's do these in grey. Well, we would do it in grey. There we are. We can do that in grey, and then we can add the details later on. So these little swirls come in the mould that has the windows in it, the round windows, and the smaller arches. The big arch I used on the Pentart Live the other day was from the plastic mould, but we so far we've got a bit of paint on our hands, but it's not too impossible. There we are. Good evening, Stephanie. Welcome, my darling. Welcome, welcome. There we are. And we'll do some touch up. I can see where I've got stuff on here. There we are. So we've got a nice regal window. Might be more suitable for a church than a room, but hey ho, it could just be a decorative plaque on a wall, couldn't it, as well, with lots of detail. Thinking abstract art. Abstract art's always cool. Right, eeny meeny. So those will do that. That will do into that. Make sure I've tucked into all of those pieces. Lots of nooks and crannies in those pieces, and I can see areas on the red that I need to fill in. So let's just fill those in while we're at it. And I can also see some bits of blue that would benefit from a little bit of a touch up along the way. Oh, not necessarily with a dirty brush with red on it, but hey ho. There we are. Let's just add in. It's always the same when you're painting. You always find bits where you think you've covered it with the shiny paint, and then realise that you haven't actually got everything. There we are. That will work. But we haven't got it all on that one, so there we are. Hopefully we now have those. Right, okay, let's stick that over there. Let's just get out a little bit of mahogany. Hi Julie. Oh dear. I hope that didn't splurge halfway across the room, because that wouldn't also be a good look. Some of the, I've had some of these Allegro paints now, I think for 2019 was Craft to Heart, so since 2017 perhaps. Yeah, I think since 2017. So that is, you know, a long time. So let's just add. So it's not surprising that some of them are thickening up, or that I'm wanting to use some of them up. There we are. Let's just add in. It's just a question of being patient, but we all know that my painting is never with huge finesse, because you can always cover things up, hide a multitude of sins with antiquing gels. Works a treat for covering up oopsies and helping. Defines the recesses. Just put the antiquing gels that you can add in, just really makes such a huge difference to doing that. So I use my antiquing gels for low lights, and then I dry brush for highlights, or use waxes for highlights. I will come back to the little books on the things in that suitcase when it's done, and then let's just add in. We're going to add in some of that. Add in back in the wood. Let's get rid of that extra piece of resin. So I'm going to come up here, back over that red, because I want to highlight this top piece of that. So I'm going to have upholstered sides, cushions, and wood for the rest. There we are. I have cast resin before on a live, but I've done it for Pentart with their super fast and with their fast resins and fast cast resin, and also one time ago with their super glass resin. And each of the resins has slightly different properties. So what I would say is that if you're new to resin, you just need to learn the properties for the ones that you like and the ones that you're going to use, and make sure you have appropriate gloves and gloves on and hair tied up out the way, and your room is well ventilated. Resin is, at the end of the day, a chemical reaction, so it's important that you do protect yourself. And I don't use a face mask. I'm not sensitive to it. If you're very sensitive to chemicals, then a DIY face mask is probably prudent, but it's not required for these resins. There we are. So we'll just pop the brown onto there. There we are. And then we can come back in, because I can see I've missed some of the red, but that's okay. So we've got nice plunctious arms, as if they've been upholstered. Do I want... This might all then go pear-shaped, ladies. There we are. We can add back our wood on the top. There we are. Sorry for going quiet while I add in that bit. So we've got a wood framed chair because that's the way the casting has been made. There we are. Okay, let's just give that a little bit of a wriggle in a pot of water. I think there's quite a few people going to the NEC that probably haven't been for a while in terms of companies. There we are. Okay. Let's pop that over there to dry. Once it's dry, we will be adding some bits in anyway. Right, let's ask. I can see just a little bit in there that needs to be dark. Right, let's give those a little bit of a blast before I add in any extra to those, because otherwise we're going to be smudging stuff when we don't want to. They absolutely have, and Hidden Grove looks very different with its gnomes and its mushrooms. So I do think they've done enough mushroom moulds, or more importantly, perhaps I have enough mushroom moulds. I just need to get these heated up. Good evening, Kay. Hi, Julian. No problem whatsoever. So I won't be like, oh, I could be, no, I probably won't be live next weekend, because Liz Wheeler and I have our retreat next weekend, so we will be travelling, although courtesy of hubby and children's work, we're going to be making a fleeting visit up on a Friday and then coming back to look after hubby for part of it. Now I can see that, because I was rather slapdash with the painting of that, just how many areas I've missed. So let's just come back in to pick those up. Stick that into there. Stick that into there. There we are. Cool. Hopefully now we've got all of the bits on those painted, and then let's just paint these two. So let's go for a blue book, keeping the colour palette relatively straightforward intentionally. I've got more blue paint I can get. I'm just being a skinflint now. So that's like a book, I think, on its side, rather than getting out more. There we are. And then let's go for the red on this piece. There we are. So yeah, I think it's just a little side table is this, but if you've got out the Altago collection, you've got a smaller chair but in a similar style, so thinking sofa and chairs rather than two sofas, and there's a sideboard and a bookcase, all done in this similar style. So they are linking the collections so that they make a degree of a sense from that point of view. Spade, there we are. and again, it's 25 tons more black than we could possibly ever need, but hey ho, there we are. We'll just pop that into here, and so this comes in the mould with, I think, the playing cards, but not the big playing card, the plastic cards. So I cast all of them, and we're now using up. Right, excellent. Oh dear, she says excellent, and then Pompey sees bits that she's got a mess of. So there we are. Let's just pick, and we can see an area in there that needs a little bit of tender loving care. A little bit of black won't matter. There we are. Make it look a bit more vintage, but there we are. Right, let's get these properly dry. This isn't a complicated make once you've thought about how you're going to pop your pieces together. Yeah, last year they relaunched pretty much every month. Whereas this year it seems that they've got new products appearing in the favourites, which is crazy because they're not new products, are they? If they're favourites, but there. Let's just add a bit more paint onto there so I can see where that paint has thinned down. But it's giving me a wood effect, so that's cool. I can see that. Good evening, Agnieszka. Welcome. It's a long time since I've seen you watching a live, my darling. I trust that you are well. And there we are. Let's just give these all a good blast, and then we can give them a bit of a varnish. It won't take so long once we've popped everything together. So yeah, I mean, it's been relaunched a couple of times, but I think the paper cutouts might be quite nice, and also the ribbons might be quite nice. And we'll see what moulds they bring out to go with it. I have it from the first time it came out, so I'm maybe not going to be getting so much of it. It's impossible to keep up with everything. It just is. With all of the best will in the world, you cannot use everything up. And if you used everything up, or at least once, with the moulds, you'd have, as I do, so much clutter in your house that you wouldn't know what to do with it. Just squash that mould down a bit. Mind you, it will sort itself out. So if you heat up resin, resin's a plastic once it's set, you can actually shape it to fit, but it's much harder to do so once it is actually fully cured. And these have been cast for a wee while, so they are definitely properly fully cured. There we are. So I've treated myself to a newish pot of varnish tonight because I was using it up the other day. So let's give these a little bit of love and care with this. This is the matte varnish, but I could have, for the furniture in particular, I could have picked the silky shine, or I could have picked the soft touch. So lots of options, but any varnish. It just is an extra layer of protection when you're rubbing back, as I do when I add my distressing products in. There we are. Let's just pop that onto there. We don't need 3 tons of it, but hey ho, let's just pop that into there, get it into all of those nooks and crannies, and then we can spread it out so we don't have thick layer. And if you're paranoid, you varnish twice, and if it's a piece of decoupage that you're going to be selling, you put, and you want it to have a completely crystal clear finish, then you varnish it and varnish it. Then take some fine sandpaper and sand it down to get rid of any of the marks, and then you varnish it again, and I double varnish each time, and then you get rid of whatever I put under there, and then you carry on with alternating layers of varnish and sandpaper, building up your layers until you can't, rubbing back until you cannot feel or see a transition between your rice paper and your and the surface, because you've added and sanded back so much that everything becomes one level. And yeah, it's a lengthy, time consuming process, but you will get a super glass finish by doing that. So is it entirely necessary? No, you can stop at any point that you want. Like most of these things, there are not rules completely. Good evening, Tara. Hello, Helen. Thank you for joining me this evening. Hello, Alison. I trust that you are well. There we are. So my plans are to be live on Sunday, God willing, husband behaving, children being at home to cook tea. We'll cook the tea, it's safer, because my oven's decided for the third time in 6 months that it would blow all the house fuses and they wouldn't go on yesterday. Both times it's been when my lovely son has been doing this cooking, so I might just say that blame him, but I think, to be fair, the oven has just probably seen better days, although it is only 14 years old, and I really would expect an oven to last longer than 14 years, but hey ho, such is life. It will be a challenge to get it out though if it does need replacing, but that will be British Gas is a problem for me. There we are. Let's just add a layer of varnish all of these, because actually it's not so, the whole project isn't difficult. It's just about coming up with an idea and then a composition that works for your idea. Right, there we are. Let's just pop these in little pieces. Let's tuck that up. Let's make sure we don't have masses of extra. That's the worst part of doing this, actually, is the varnishing, because it's tacky and films a film and a Disney naked. There we are. We need to get into those little nooks and the crannies on there, but these steps are integral to the process, and they really are designed to give you, give you a piece that will have longevity. And if you're going to the trouble of making yourself, a piece, I think you do want it to be one that you're proud of, and you want it not to be falling apart just down the road. That paint wasn't dry. Just cover this lot. We'll lift off most of that excess in a minute, because we've got way too much, but it is going to now sit comfortably into those nooks and the crannies, so we won't need to pick up extra for this piece, because we've clearly got oodles sitting off there. There we are, our little stand. Have we done all of those pieces? Yeah, so let's just get rid of some of that excess varnish that's on there, because it'll fill in, and also it'll take forever to dry if we don't lift it off. So we'll just take off the excess. There we are. Just wiping it onto a wet wipe to do that. There we are. Get rid of that little lot. There we are, and then we haven't got an excessively large quantity of that any which way. There we are. Right, let's just give this a wee blast. We do have some papers to add in, and I'm not using rice paper because, because I've got plenty of paper, and I decided that the papers would work. Really to work. Not what's taking measures. Good evening, Jojo. Let's just get these dry. They need to be properly dry before I can do any antiquing or discussing with them. So I have nearly finished uploading my historic Facebook Lives on my own page and on Crafting Together with All Brands to my own YouTube channel, so that those can be found as Facebook decides to delete, because that's what Facebook is deciding to do. Excuse me, just while I add that into there, because it's completely missed. Oh, avoid the so let's just get these dry. And I've got 3 different antiquing products out for low lighting, and then we'll add some highlights after that. There we are. We're getting there. We are getting there. Just patience is a virtue. You can still see some areas that are not quite dry, so let's just be patient. Whilst we do this. I've uploaded about 70. I've got 5 more to go. The pent art ones lives that I've done for 4 years now, they've all upload automatically to YouTube, but Pentart's YouTube channel, and I now know how I can create a list for my own page, so that might be helpful for people, but that might take a little bit more doing. And I did a few lives for Stamperia a long time ago, and Stamperia have also automatically uploaded to their YouTube channel. So those are safe. And those won't go onto my own page, but my own live from my own page, I'm intending carrying on doing them live on my own page and then uploading to YouTube. And I know that, yeah, because I just feel that Facebook is a more socially interactive platform. At the end of the day, that's what it was designed to do. But chat is easier, and I think one of the huge pluses of the lives is that it allows people to interact with each other, and that has a really important social function, and one that I think needs to be supported. So that's my plan, is to carry on doing that. Let's do 4. Doesn't need to be a nice decent brush because we're going to be scrubbling. There we are, those will work. So I have on my desk dark blue vintage patina. So this is Stamperia's equivalent of antiquing gels, but they've got a white base in them. Okay, and they're not going to add a lot because it's quite close to the colour of that, so of this piece, but you can see there is a difference. But this is going to add some low lights. I might go in with the grey as well to darken it up a little bit. Okay, and once these are dry, they're permanent, so it's important that you don't let them dry in the same way as you don't with your antiquing base. There we are. Yeah, I think it is just adding another layer. I think we will go in with some of the dark grey. There we are. So I'm just going to wipe it back. So I'm just lifting it off the surface so it sits in those crevices. So it just adds an extra layer into the piece. There we are. But it also helps to fill in dodgy painting. Did I really say that? Yeah, I did really say that. So the lovely Anthony spent, because technology and me are definitely two challenging activities, spent several hours with me this morning, bless him, showing me how to create thumbnails, because currently I've put auto-generated ones up. So this is the dark grey vintage patina. Now if you've got the antiquing jars from Pentart, you could mix black and white together, and of course you'll get a grey. Yeah, it's not rocket science, is it? We all know that black and white makes grey. There we are. Just cover everything, get into all of the nooks and the crannies. Along the way. Here we are. Deal with the dodgy painting. There we are. You think, you've painted all of that and now you've wiped that horrible black grungy stuff over it. There we are. Let's just turn that round, wipe it back. So it's now sitting in all of that texture, which was the plan, because I like it when a plan comes together. So this is I'm basically putting the low lights in, the darker areas, the shadows into these pieces by doing this, if that makes sense. And you can you could paint each of these low lights areas in for yourself, but it really just makes such a huge difference to light and shade and depth if you just do pop these in. And because these pieces have been varnished, I'm not destroying any of the surfaces with my wet wipe. If you try and wipe back without a wet wipe, you tend to without varnishing, you tend to lift off some of it. There we are. Now, just be sensible. Do not be a stinflint. Did I want the blue? No, I did not want the blue. Does the blue matter? No. Why not just use the blue then? Why not? Why not? Why not? Why not? Why not? Yeah. There we are. Won't matter. I just want a little bit to fill some of that detail in, so I'm not going to have very much. So whether it, there we are, won't matter. But there we are. But I do actually want the grey. I do want the grey. I'm going to use the grey on my spade. It's just going to add a little bit to that, and let's just shovel it into all of these nooks and the crannies on this swirl and age up this piece. There we are. Oh, I would definitely give you a good recommendation. There we are. It just does make such a huge, huge difference to the pieces doing this. I've got a different plan for the window. I will swap to a clean brush and I will clean my hands. Right, eeny, meeny, miny, let's just get rid of that. I might need, she says, let's just get rid of that before we have a mucky mess. I want to use white next. And I know full well that if I don't clean my mucky mitts, I shall have multicolours over everything. There we are. Right, and then we'll give these a blast dry. Right, eeny, meeny, miny. Have I got rid of most? I've got rid of most of that. Right. Okay. So the window, we're just going to use the white. There is a white vintage patina, so if you've got that already, then you know, use what you've got. Because that's worth it. There we are. Again, it just is going to help show that that white just makes such a huge difference to that area. Right, let's blast with a dryer. Because we've got some extra detailing still to go. So base coloured, and now we've got all the low lights in. So I'm just going to give these a dry. It won't take forever. This dry because I can see it's definitely wet in the depths of the words and over here. So there we are. And you can't add your highlights when you've got a wet surface because the colour will mix in. So let's see what we've got. Let's stand ourselves up. And so highlighting number 1 is we're going to bring out the words on there just with a little bit of wax, and we can edge that frame. Make something extraordinary happen. There we are. Okay, so let's keep with the gold, and we'll add just going to add it onto those. And actually I think I'm just going to continue it on as if the light is catching on the very surfaces of some of that. There we are. Now, people say use your ring finger, but I don't think you just need to be light. I've not got masses of gold on my finger, and I am being very gentle, so I'm catching the tops of what I want. There we are. So those are now much brighter and much happier. Okie dokie. Am I going to stick to that? Let's just add just a little bit onto there. That was more than I wanted on that, and it will be a pain in the butt. Let me just go and get, because I've overdone it there, transparent wax. Okay, so I've got more gold on here than I want, so I've just put a big glob, technical term, of transparent wax onto there. Okay, so when people tell you can't remove wax, you can, but it needs to be with the wax. There we are. I'll add that onto there. Now I've got just a little bit, I can add just a faint hue. There we are. So the transparent wax is definitely a good get out of jail card for when you're using wax and if you've popped more on than you want. There we are. That will bring out all the details in that piece. Let's just add just a fraction. Oh, she says she's clearly got picked up black. I had black paint on my right, let's go dispose of that, and we'll go for a clean hand altogether. I knew that leaving that paint there was going to be a nightmare, but there we are. There we are. Let's just pop a little bit of that gold onto there. Onto there. There we are. There we are. Good. Right. No dry brushing for the time being. Okay. Oh, darling, I'm so sorry. At least you're safe. I think it always pays when you've had a difficult journey to think that whilst you might not have had a great journey, someone else's day is undoubtedly been much worse than yours. But very frustrating, I get. Right, so we have lots of pieces. Let's just pop these out of the way because we've got some measuring to do. I don't do measuring, but we have got some measuring and some cutting to do. Joys. But there you are. All of those pieces are ready. So, inconsiderately, these don't meet the bottom. And I could have just painted it, but that would have been too simple, wouldn't it? So, and we've got sides as well. It's equally inconsiderate. But we will manage this because I often have these pieces pre-cut, and that's fine. Where's my ruler? But that doesn't help, does it, with the process for people? So let's get a ruler. Inside is 16.5, and I think that is one. See, that is 1 point. If I push it, it's 1.5, but I think it's also 1.4. I'm going to do it as strips. It's just going to be easier rather than trying to be clever. So 16.5, that will do. And I'm going to assume it's square. In fact, I'm going to go 16.6 just to be difficult. There we are. So 16.6 centimetres by 16.6 centimetres. Maths is right. So let's go 16, 5, 6. There we are. Pop that there. 16, 5, 6. Okay, and we'll keep that bit in a minute because we'll need that. So let's get this round the right way. Yay! I like it when a plan comes together. So let's just get some glue. Oh good, the pin fairy is lurking over there. I'm not going to edge it because we don't need to, partly because there's white in the paper, which makes life easy. So that bit can slot into there, go on underneath, can then just about slide into there. Okie dokie. Then we need 2 pieces for the side. So I'm just going to, you see, I knew there would be a reason why it wasn't quite the right size, wouldn't it? Right, that needs a little And I mean a little trim. Because I want it to fit comfortably. And then let's just chop, because that's the easiest way of doing that. And hopefully that's where the chop is. That's where that chop is. Hopefully we'll then have two pieces that are approximately the same size, which of course they're not, but that's okay. So let's just, but we know that smaller one is the correct size. So let's just have another little trim of that. There we are. Okay, and we won't end up wasting masses. There we are. Oh, so that is going to be our background wallpaper. No, I haven't finished using my massive adhesive pot of glue yet. That's it, with the text up the right way. That's always helpful, isn't it? There we are. We are getting there. I can't use it on the Pentart Lives though, because it's not a Pentart glue. So they get upset if I then use a non-Pentart glue on a Pentart Live. So those can go there. Those can go there. We now need some pieces for the top. Right. 16.5. 16.5. 16.6 was actually what I did, wasn't it? 6. There we are. And then we'll do the same sneaky trick. We'll do the same sneaky trick. Pop that into the bottom. We'll chop that. There we are. Let's get those to grab. That's 1.6. There we are. And we'll need two of those, one for top and bottom. And of course, if you were really being paranoid, you would match them all up so that the whole thing was contiguous. Life is too short. Life is too short. So these are from, this piece is actually from the 12 by 12 collection, but it could just as easily be from the 8-inch one. It wouldn't need that. Good evening, Carla. Welcome, welcome, welcome. There we are. So let's just pop that into there, pop that there, pop that there. Let that grab. Let that grab. Let's take this one. So we're wallpapering the room. Of course, if I was wallpapering a proper room, I would take a bit more time. There we are. Good. Okie dokie. Now this one will be more of a challenge. It will be more of a challenge. I can assure you it's going to be more of a challenge, because we need to chop out a bit out of the middle of it. So we need to be 20.3. Yeah. Why would it be a sensible number? That's because 8 inches is 20.3 millimeters. That's conveniently the size of the paper, so that's good, isn't it? 23. So that's good. Okie dokie. So that piece of paper should sit neatly on there. Spot the obvious problem, ladies, because there is an obvious problem, isn't there? Because we've now got an hole in the middle. Right, so this is And it won't matter if it overhangs a bit, but it will matter if it's a bit short. So 2 centimetres. It's actually 1.5, 6, 7, 8. But I'm actually going to go to 2 centimetres. And I think that's the side I want. So, pens, pen, pencil even. Oh, there we are. So let's just take, because we've got to chop out some bits from here. So, so let's come in 2 centimetres there. Two centimetres there. This is on the side that isn't going to be showing, of course. There we are. Let's draw a line. Two centimetres there. 2 centimetres there. 2 centimetres there. 2 centimetres there. Right, there to there. There's the line. There's the line. 2 centimetres there. There we are. Right, good. So we've now got that sorted, and a craft knife. Okay. She says, having made a mess of that. So just be careful, ladies, when you're doing this, obviously, that you don't injure yourself. I, as a surgeon, am very used to handling a knife, but if you prefer, do use a pair of scissors. And I've got a metal ruler, okay, because that makes life easier. And the risk of doing it this way, but this is just the way I find it easier, is that I'll cut into the piece that I want to keep to use, and that's fine. You can always patch it in if you need to. So that's now a nice piece for using on another project. Okay. So we can do so. Or we can do so. Let me have a little look. What do you reckon? I actually quite like that. We're going to go that way. So I've coloured on the wrong side, but that's okay. Now then, I slip with my knife. There we are. Not a problem. Not a problem. Okay, really not a problem. It's still there. We can push it, put it together. A little bit of tape. No one's going to be any the wiser. Red line of tape, the bane of every crafter's life. There we are. Always cover up whoopsies. It's always possible to cover up whoopsies. I'm thinking feature wall in the background, and then the main walls are in contrast. So there we are. Let's just get rid. You'll be delighted to know. Just as well no one's following, isn't it? We are nearly there. She says, famous last words, that, isn't it? Always famous last words. I don't think I ever make a project that is, mind you, I don't stress about the times nowadays. I just go for it. I can tackle, because I used a pen, so I can tackle okay. So that can go underneath there, that can go underneath there, that can go underneath that, that can go underneath that. That's not going to matter by the time we've got that on. Let's just pop that into place. Cool. Have I got a rubber to hand? Yeah, I do have a rubber to hand. So let's just get rid of the bits that might show, which is really actually not very much of that. There we are. Good. Gel medium for the 4, 5 and 6. Why not, why not, why not? There we are. Let's just grab our gel medium. There. One. Two. Okay. So our curtains are in place. So that's just, see that conveniently almost fits in there. I say almost because it doesn't completely fit in there. And then we need our little window can go there. Oh, let's put it at least in the same vague vicinity. There we are. Okie dokie. And that is going to sit there. Okay, okay. Cookie, cookie. Cool. Right, now for the slightly more problematic areas of the proceedings. There we go. That's not a slightly more problematic area, but the bottom part is slightly more problematic. There we are. So we've got a nice fancy posh palette. And I'm going to lose my comments I think shortly because my phone has gone incredibly dark. So if I stop answering people, then I apologise. It is because I will have no battery and I'm seeing no comments on my feed. So, oh right, see, I can hit it's gone black as my screen, which is it clearly means it's on energy saving mode, but which is fine. Let's just pop that on there. Now then, I know where some of these other bits and pieces are going, but as I say, I just wanted to warn you that I might lose radio communication. So these are pieces cut from the collection. So this is just a little bit, and I'm just going to use these to build up a scene that I like. To do that, stand up, because I know full well that I need this to go where I can't see it on there. So there we are. Let's just add 2 of those onto there. That will help hold that secure. And we'll pop that there. There we are. Tuck that up like that. But I want Mr. Vagabond because it's the magician's sitting room, so he has to be in there. And inconsiderately, in the paper pad, the collection has, he's all chopped off. Whatever you do with him, he's all chopped off. So you've got to hide. And my pull-out cut parts were not nicely cut and not matched. So there we are. Let's just do that. There we are. So we have Sir Vagabond in his room. Okay. Let's find these little bottles. So, and I'm deliberately using some dimensional glue here because it's just going to help lift these up. So we're going to pop that partly under, but sitting on there we've got oh, well really, woman, that was highly uber unintelligent, wasn't it? Of course it was. Put it on the side that you want showing. Never mind, let's just get rid. It's going to be one of them nights, isn't it? Phone sailing, everything else going. There we are. Okay. Let's just pop that flat onto there. That's going to go on. That can go flat, tucked behind there. Okay. Then we can add our drink me. Get offed onto there. It says drink me. And our little piece. So we've got what I think isn't a nice, particularly nice balance at the bottom of here, and that's fine. So what I've done is cut some more pieces from the paper collection to sort of disguise this area a little bit. So these are paper cards. I'm just going to give them a wee bit of a shape. And pop that there. And I'm going to stick it partly underneath there, partly not. There we are. And I've got a pile of books that we're going to tuck out as if they're resting on the floor. Okay. And then we've got a playing card that's going to tuck under there, again as if it's on the floor. And we're going to pop that piece underneath there. That's better. Okay. And I'm going to pop these, another pile of cards, tuck them into there. Did I not stick that piece down? I think I didn't. That'll be fun. I didn't. I did. Right. Just be patient and let the glue grab. There we are. Okay. And then at this point you could carry on adding as much as or as little as you want. I'm not completely convinced that I'm wanting to add a lot more. I've got a little bit of an area that I'm not completely happy with, but we've got a little word there. That's a chipboard, so let's just pop that onto there, because that's going to work there. And let's just stick I'm going to stick an extra little heart onto there. That's just another chipboard piece. And I don't know whether I do want to add these or not, so I'm not going to. I think we're going to call it a day. There we are. So there is our magician's sitting room. We have our magician, we have our pair of curtains, we've got our little room, we've got a splodge of white that will dry clear, we've got a title, we've got a little window, and we've got all sorts of other little bits and pieces that you might find in a wizard's or a magician's room. And I rather quite like how that is now finished off, and I hope that you do too. So ladies and gentlemen, if Anthony is still watching, I think he is still watching, that is my make for tonight. I hope you like it. I hope that I will see some of you live on Sunday on my own page when we'll finish the brocante paper activity. So good night for now. Well, it would help if my mouse was going to work. There we are. No, my computer is misbehaving and it is not letting me do anything again. So just bear with while I try and there we are. Try and get it to end.